Hi everyone, very good morning and welcome back to Crack Grade B. So today we'll be talking about the branch accounting. This is the topic that I have picked up for today. Before that, let's discuss the question that has been asked in one of the previous EPFO examination. They did ask about branch accounting. They asked that branch accounting under debtors method is which type of accounts, right? So they wanted to ask real, personal or nominal. So let's see the classification once. So types of accounts. You have your real account, personal account, and then nominal account. This is how we classify in the accounts, fine? Real account means accounts related to your current assets, fine? Your fixed assets as well as the current assets. Assets and liabilities, these are your real account which actually exist, fine. After that, what is personal account? Personal account means which represents a person. For example, debtors represent a person, creditors represent a person. So that means the debtors which are in the current assets, they are not real, they are personal. Any kind of asset or liability which represents a person, that is called as the personal account. ठीक है? Nominal account, your revenue items and your expenses items, they are called as the nominal accounts. Nominal means बस नाम के ही हैं, they have the existence only nominal, but actually they do not exist. If I talk about a machinery, it does exist in reality, right? That is why the machinery will be called as a real account. ठीक? So this is the classification. Now as per this classification, they asked that branch account, which type of account it is. So clearly it is a nominal account. Branch account is not representing any real person. Branch account is not a real asset for me. Okay, so that means it is a nominal account. Okay. This was only one question that has been asked because the branch accounting has been mentioned. So let us see the basics of branch accounting. Okay, just give me a second. Yes. Let's start about branch accounting. So branch is a part of organization which is carrying out the business activity on behalf of its parent body, like head office. So you all understand, in case of corporates as well, they do have their branches in the different kinds of geographical areas. Apart from that, If you see railways, railway also has its divisions into different areas. Fine. Apart from that, you will see the banks. Banks also have the branches. There is a head office of the branch, and after that you have branches. So the concept of branches is already understood by you guys. ठीक है, ये आप already समझते हैं what is branch. Now who they represent the head office. Usually a branch is located away from the head office, but at the same time it is controlled or managed as per the instructions of the head office. Now I'll tell you one thing over here. See, branch accounts, what we are studying over here is we are studying from the eyes of head office. हम किसकी आइज से पढ़ रहे हैं? हेड ऑफिस की आइज से. So these accounts will be maintained by whom? These accounts will be maintained by your head office. Okay, these accounts that we will be talking ahead will be prepared by the head office into their own books. So please remember this particular thing. The State Bank of India is having over 10,000 branches at different locations, including foreign countries, right? Similarly, a retail chain like Pantaloon, Croma, Shoppers Stop, Bata, etc., they are also involved in mainly in the marketing of finished goods. So what they do is they just take the marketing related thing, and the rest of the things like opening a store, operating, managing a store, for this they give the branches, right? They give the franchisees that please conduct this on your own. Now let's see what does a Companies Act says about the branch. So branch office in relation to a company means any establishment which is described as the branch by company, which is carrying on either the same or substantially the same activity as that carried on by the head office of the company, engaged in any production, processing, manufacturing, excluding those specified in any order by the central government, right? Basically they are just representing head office. हेड ऑफिस जो भी करता है, जो भी काम कर रहे हैं, उनको बस रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं. दिस इज द वर्क ऑफ द ब्रांच. आफ्टर दिस लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ ब्रांचेस. See, an independent branch, it keeps complete record for all the accounting transactions at the location of branch itself. Such branches are covered by these is not covered by the syllabus. A dependent branch is what we are covering at. Okay, this is not. See, if the branch is independent, that is okay, fine. At that case consolidation will happen. ठीक है, तब क्या होगा? Consolidation वाला concept apply होगा. So that is why we are not applying over here. We are talking about dependent branch. Dependent branch क्या होता है? Suppose they do not have such manpower, such expertise to prepare their accounts, etc., etc. So they do not maintain the complete records. They just record that okay, what expenses has been made, what is the sale that we have received, like that. Okay, only functional accounts are maintained by them. They do not maintain the accounts in detail. So dependent branch, they does not maintain complete record for all accounting transaction. HO maintains, the head office maintains complete accounts for such branches, right? The branch keeps only essential records like sale. If there is any sale, then that needs to be recorded. If there is any expense, that needs to be recorded. Otherwise how you will pass on the information to the head office? अगर फिर आप information कैसे pass on करेंगे head office को? That is the point of discussion over here. ठीक है? So this is why we are doing this. See, now so this are the small accounts that your branches maintain, like the stock registers, roughly petty cash books, customer accounts, etc., and correspondence with the head office. So branches. See, foreign branches, domestic branches, right? These are the two bifurcations. Then in domestic branches also independent branches. So in this case, branch maintain the complete accounting records So this concept does not apply over there. We are reading branch accounting. Branch accounting means where the head office is maintaining records for the branch, and there we will apply our principles. Dependent branch means the head office maintain the complete accounting records. Okay, there are two options, like on the basis of these systems the head office can maintain. One is the debtor system, and the other one is the stock and debtors system. So what are these? These are the options how you can record the branch related transactions. ब्रांच रिलेटेड ट्रांजैक्शंस को आप कैसे रिकॉर्ड कर सकते हैं. ओके, चलिए आगे बढ़ें. Now first of all we are going to see these particular methods. Okay, so debtors method goods at cost price in the books of the head office. Usually this method is applied for small scale businesses activity. So just see this. See, I have included very basic thing because branch accounting has been mentioned in your previous year questions. Although the question was really very direct related to the real personal nominal, but still the students wanted that we shall include the detailed thing. So we have included it. There are chances, there might not be any chances, but the point is what we are covering over here is super basic. This can be done by you in no time, right? And this is really going to help you. So see over here, the head office maintains separate account. अलग अलग अकाउंट मेंटेन किया जाता है फॉर ईच ब्रांच देयर इज अ सेपरेट अकाउंट टू नो द प्रॉफिट अर्न और लॉस सफर्ड बाय अ पर्टिकुलर ब्रांच. The concept is similar to the consignment accounts, right? It is a national account. National account means like a P&L account. Fine. It shows the profit earned or loss suffered in respect of the particularly branch. Now you see, this is a kind of P&L account but with a twist. Okay, we will record assets also, we will record liabilities also. I'll just tell you. So a P&L account is maintained which represents whom? Which represents branch. So this was the question, that under debtors method the branch account which is prepared, what kind of account it is? Nominal, real or personal. Okay, so that is the way of the question that has been asked. Chaliye, so let's see what in this account, which is a national account similar to P&L account, what all we are going to debit and what all we are going to credit. Let's see this. So these are all debit wale items. All assets, mainly cash and cash equivalents, they will be provided for, which has been provided by a head office via other branch to this particular branch, and goods and cash received by this branch from the HOs, suppliers or debtors, right? Any asset that has been provided by the head office to the branch will be reflected on the debit side of this particular account. Branch liability, debit side, and profit earned. Credit side mein what all items will come? All benefits forwarded by this branch to HO. That means whatever branch is sending to the HO will be recorded in the credit side. See, debit side, first of all, this account is prepared by whom? Head office. So think from the perspective of head office. Head office thinks that whatever we have to recover from the branch, let's write it on the debit side. जो भी हमको recover करना है, and whatever we have received from the branch, we will write it in the credit side. Okay, so like benefits will be written in credit side, branch assets at the year end will be written on the credit side. Okay, and the loss suffered will be written on the credit side. So this is how the first method is. Next is the debtors method, but the goods will be recorded at invoice price. ठीक है, पहला वाला मेथड क्या था? कॉस्ट प्राइस. दूसरा वाला मेथड क्या है? इनवॉइस प्राइस. इनवॉइस प्राइस मीन्स you are including a certain portion of profit as well. See, ideally you should maintain at cost, because in that case you will be able to know the real picture. ठीक है, उस केस में आपको real picture पता चलेगी. But in case you do not do that and you are recording it invoice price, then this is how it will flow. So where HO dispatches goods at cost price, the branch can easily find out the profit earned by HO. ठीक है? So in this case, what HO does is that they add certain percentage or fixed amount to the cost price so that profit is not disclosed to the branch. So why this particular method is being followed? See, to maintain the confidentiality, secrecy, or whatever you can call this for. Fine. The head office doesn't want that the branch people should get to know that what is the profit percentage for the head office. Suppose if I am giving you this particular pen and I am saying that cost price of this pen is 10 rupees and in the market it retails for 200 rupees, then it is very easy for you to guess that okay, 190 rupees is my profit margin. ठीक है, 190 rupees मेरा profit margin है. But what I have done is 10 rupees pen I have given you at 100 rupees. ठीक है, मैंने आपको 100 पे दिया by adding certain margin. So now you will be trying to guess, but you will not be able to guess the real profit position. आपको real profit position नहीं पता चलेगी. So this is the intention. So under the second method, that is called as the loaded price, that profit or markup is loaded on the cost price due to which the original cost gets inflated. ठीक है? And lastly, we have a stock and debtors method. So what are the limitations of debtors method? See, in case of large volume of transactions, it is difficult for the head office to keep control through a single account. Under debtors method, what do we do is we maintain a single account. ठीक है? So अगर transactions बहुत ज़्यादा होंगे तो it will be difficult to maintain the records. HO does not get an idea about the exact movement of cash and bank item. Same is the case in respect of the movement of goods. It operates like a statement of prepared in case of a single entry system, right? So what they are telling is you are putting everything into a single account, so you do not know the positions in case of a separate things, like you do not know that how your goods is doing, right? Whether debtors are being collected on time or not. So there are variety of things that gets missed out. So for the removal of such kind of limitations, we have a stock in debtors method. What does stock in debtors method talks about? To gather detailed information for decision making at HO level following ledger accounts, they are to be maintained in addition to be the branch account. ठीक है? Under this method, the goods are recorded at invoice price higher than the cost price. Okay? So these are maintained in addition to the branch account. What are the additional accounts that will be maintained? I'll just tell you. Related to cash, related to goods, related to debtors. This is how it will be maintained in addition to the branch account. Okay, so this so that you have a better understanding how these things are moving. Now let me discuss few of the questions that has been asked in the previous examinations and what are the possible solutions regarding them. Okay, just wait for a second. Yes. So in your previous year examinations, there have been questions on the accounting standards, not directly but indirectly, right? So the concepts were from the your accounting standards. So what we will do is, this is a lengthy document, but I'm going to just pick up the topics that you need to study. Fine. So accounting standards, what we know about accounting standards is, see, if everybody will start preparing the accounts in the different formats and in the different mechanisms, then it will be so difficult to analyze as well as the compare the accounting statements. Okay, suppose there are two businesses, business A and business B, both are preparing their accounts and their accounts have been prepared so differently than that in such a case I cannot compare A and B's accounts among themselves, right? So this is the problem. So that is why accounting standards are prescribed. I am again telling you the pointers that I am going to tell you in this particular document, only that you need to have a eye on, otherwise please do not go through in detail. Okay? So first of all, accounting standards issued by the expert accounting body, government of other regulatory bodies, right? In India, the expert accounting body is ICAI. And after that, central government, whatever ICAI prescribes, central government picks up those prescriptions or the standards and then notifies it. ठीक है कि ये अब हमने इनको notify कर दिया है and these companies have to follow it. Now let's talk about the applicability of accounting standards. So as per ICAI कहता है these are intended to be applied by the enterprises in corporate, cooperatives or other firms which are engaged in the commercial, industrial or business activity. That means accounting standards shall be applied to the sole proprietors, partnership, societies, trust, HUF, association of person, everyone, right? It is applicable on to everyone if you are doing any sort of activity which is having business nature. Now this is standard setting process, you are not required to go through that, but yes, you can just have a look onto it. इसमें क्या आपके लिए important है is this body, the Accounting Standards Board of ICAI. They determine the broad areas in which accounting standards should be formulated. So they identify the areas that okay, in this such particular areas we should frame the accounting standards. Apart from that, they have the assistance by the study group. They prepare the preliminary draft. After that, that draft is circulated. That draft is circulated to whom? All these industry bodies as well as the government agencies. ठीक है, आपके professional institutes भी हैं यहाँ पे जिनको ये दिया जाता है. Exposure drafts. Now exposure draft means the comments. Comments are being taken because you have circulated the document. Why you have circulated? So that you can have the comments. So वो comments लिए जाते हैं. It is seen that how we can improve on these particular standards, right? What are the problematic things that are there and how we can improve. So all such things are seen for, and then finally the draft is seen by the Council of ICAI and they consider that whether we should issue this or not. So final decision remains with them. ठीक है. So in the above section, it was given that the auditors, whenever they are auditing any financial statement, they have to tell that whether this particular organization has complied with accounting standards or not. इन्होंने comply किया है या फिर नहीं. Accounting standards and the board's report. So Companies Act says that the director's responsibility statement should also include that in preparation of the annual accounts, the applicable accounting standards had been followed along with a proper explanation related to the material departure. That means along with your financial statements, a board report is also presented. ठीक है. So उस board report में आपके board of directors को भी ये बताना पड़ेगा. They also have to tell whether they have complied with the accounting standards or not. So board also has to comply. The auditors also has to comply. ठीक. So finally, how many accounting standards are there at present? So there are 27 accounting standards which are at present working and applicable in India. These standards are developed by Accounting Standards Board under the authority of ICAI Council. So this particular thing you all know. The implication of the mandatory status of an accounting standard depends on whether the statute governing the enterprise concerned requires compliance with that particular standard or not. Central government to prescribe the accounting standards, section 133. So I have told you the standards that are recommended by the ICAI. जो स्टैंडर्ड्स आईसीएआई रिकमेंड करता है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट उन्हीं को प्रेस्क्राइब कर देता है. दी स्टैंडर्ड्स आर प्रेस्क्राइब बाय दी central government, whatever is recommended by the ICAI. Obviously central government does not have the expertise apart from the ICAI to issue such kind of standards. Now next is that you need to understand is this. Let's talk about this. So the kind of questions that can be asked from you guys on the accounting standards can be really basic one. ठीक है, बहुत ही basic. If you have the general idea about these, see, if we start talking about the accounting standards, then it will take us another 20 classes to complete all the accounting standards, right? And I'm not even kidding, I'm just telling you in reality. Accounting standards is a really heavy topic. 1 hour is the bare minimum that you need for in order to complete any accounting standard, right? So this is why I have understanding, or because in your syllabus accounting is not the only topic, there are so many other topics as well. So what you should be doing is that you should have a basic idea about each and everything. So first of all, the accounting standard 1 that calls for the disclosure of accounting policies. So all significant accounting policies should be disclosed at one place. Specific disclosure for the adoption of fundamental accounting assumption is not required. See, fundamental accounting assumptions are like your going concern, right? There is no threat to your business organization. Okay. After that, all significant accounting policies should be disclosed. What accounting policies you are following with relation to inventory, with relation to the depreciation. Okay. So such kind of things needs to be disclosed by you. Next is valuation of inventory. In case of valuation of inventory, there is a concept or the principle. This is called as the principle of conservatism. Conservatism says that you should account for all your upcoming losses. Okay? So under valuation of inventories, it is being said that you should record at what? Cost or market price, whichever is, sorry, not market price, but net realizable value. Cost or net realizable value, whichever is lower. Net realizable value means if you will go in the market to sell this particular product, what is the amount that the product will fetch you. Okay? So a primary issue in the accounting for inventories is the determination of the value of inventories. So these standards deal with the determination of such value. Inventory should be valued at the lower of cost and net realizable value. Okay? What all will come in the cost of inventories? So every cost of purchase, cost of conversion. Conversion means the cost that has been incurred to convert the raw material into finished goods, like your labor related cost. Okay? That will come, and any other cost to bring the inventories to their present location and condition. So suppose if there has been a transport cost incurred, you purchase some item from the supplier and supplier has added transportation cost from his place to your place. Now this is what? The cost has been incurred to bring the inventory at your place. So जो भी खर्चा लगा है आपकी place तक लाने तक, you have to add all such expenses. Okay. After that, contingencies and the events occurring after the balance sheet date. Balance sheet date means after 31st March. If there are some incidents that happen after balance sheet date, because of that there is an impact onto your financial statements. So this standard talks about it. This deals with the contingencies and the events. A contingency in the condition, this in this ultimate outcome is not known. Ultimate outcome currently is not known. It will be known after the occurrence of the events. And events occurring after the balance sheet date are those significance event which might have both favorable and unfavorable implications, right? So board of directors in the case of company and by the corresponding approval of the authority in case of any other entity. So the date on which the financial statements, these are approved by the board of directors. See, what we are telling you over here is there are two kinds of situation, contingencies and the events occurring after balance sheet date. In case of contingencies, if they are what they are in real nature, see your accounts has been formalized, आपके accounts तो बन गए हैं on 31st March. Now you need to disclose them. If there are, suppose any event happens that leads to destruction of one of your factory, ठीक है, so what is going to happen? You shall disclose that what is the amount of loss that we have suffered, because these financial statements will be read by the investors. Investors इनको read करेंगे and we need to give them a proper disclosure कि ठीक है, these are the events that has happened and we need to disclose, we need to provide them the complete data. So these the standards talk about the disclosure. If anything bad happens after the balance sheet date, you need to disclose it. Only this was the intention. Next is AS5, that is the net profit or loss for the period or the prior period items and the changes in accounting policy. So the objectives of the standard is to prescribe the classification and disclosure of certain items. This enhances the comparability. The standard requires that the classification and disclosure of extraordinary and prior period item and the disclosure of certain items within profit and loss from the ordinary activities. So this is about the how you are going to do the classification in the net profit or loss. See, the items are prior period items, changes in the accounting policies. Suppose now I have changed my depreciation policy from the straight line method to WDV method. So what were the reasons for that? I need to disclose it. Because of such change, what is the impact on the P&L account? I need to disclose that as well. ठीक है? अगर कोई prior period item है, suppose there was a worker and that got injured, right, and he is demanding the compensation right now out of all sudden, right, after all these years. So this is a prior period item, this is not a current period item. Okay, so how I am going to disclose this into my financial statement? It is all the standard talks about. This is an important standard from you guys perspective. Questions have been asked on this, that is revenue recognition. So this standard deals with the basis for recognition of revenue. When you should record revenue. See, revenue is the amount that you earn by on sale of goods, rendering of services, and if other people are using your resources. Like I have developed a technology and I gave it on royalty. ठीक है? So I am earning what? I am earning royalties on that particular thing. मैं उसमें royalty earn कर रही हूँ. Okay? So the revenue is the gross inflow of cash, receivables or other considerations that are arising from the sale of goods. Right? Revenue is measured by the charges made to the customers. Okay, and in an agency relationship, the revenue is the amount of commission and not the gross inflow of cash. Now the question comes that when you should recognize the revenue, right? So this is when all the risks and liabilities have been transferred to the customer. ठीक है, जब all risk and liabilities have been transferred to the customer and at that particular moment of time you should record your revenue. For example, I'll give you an example. I sold some item to a customer. Okay, the customer is saying that deliver me these items at my place. I delivered the item on 9th of June. ठीक है, I received the payment on 10th of June. and I raised an invoice on 12th of June. I raised the invoice on 12th of June. So on which day I should recognize the revenue? किस दिन मुझे revenue recognition करना चाहिए? I shall do the revenue recognition on 12th of June. किस दिन करूँगी मैं? 12th of June को. Okay. Why this will be done? I'll tell you. So when you will raise the invoice on that day, all the risk and liabilities will transfer from you to your customers. ठीक है? So the point of see, the question is on what day I should recognize revenue in my books. किस दिन मैं recognize करूँ? Okay. So that has been told the day you pass all the risk and liabilities to your customer. That is the day when you should record the sales into your books. So वो दिन कौन सा है जिस दिन I have raised the invoice? Not on the day of delivery, not on the day of cash receipt, that means the cash payment that has been received by me. No, on the day when I have raised the invoice. ठीक है? Next is property, plant and equipment. So these are tangible items that are held for use in the production or supply of goods for rental to the others or administrative services. The objectives of this accounting standard is to prescribe the accounting treatment for property, plant and equipment, right? The principal issues in the accounting for property, plant and equipment are the recognition of assets. Under this accounting standards, the property, plant and equipment, they are initially recognized at cost, ठीक है, and subsequently measured by either cost or revaluation model. जब आप asset purchase करके लाते हैं at that particular time, recognize it at cost, and after that, like means year on year, you see that whether you should record it at cost, and if the revaluation has happened, then you can recognize it at the revalued prices as well. बाद में आपके पास में option है. Next is AS13, accounting for investments. Just a second. So these standards deal with the accounting of investments. What are the investments? These are the assets which are held by the enterprise for earning income by way of dividend, interest or rentals, right? So suppose I have purchased the shares of Tata. If I am in the business of medicines and I purchase shares of Tata, then that will be called as my investment. But if I am a broker, ठीक है, and then I purchase shares of Tata, that will be called as my stock in trade. वो मेरा क्या होगा? Stock in trade, not the investment. So the thing that you are selling or purchasing in your daily course of business, that is your stock in trade. ठीक है? Enterprise hold the investments for diverse reasons that we need not to know. The enterprise should disclose their investments as a current investments and the long-term investments. Further, classification of current and long-term investments should be specified in the statute. In the absence of statutory requirement, see, investment should be classified like the government securities, shares, debentures or bonds, investment properties and others specifying the nature. So this is how you classify your investments. ठीक है? You will record your investments and at the cost, and the fair value should be represented by should be written in the brackets in balance sheet. ठीक है, कई लोग इसको दिखाते हैं so that the investors can take a better decision. So this is why they disclose that, okay, this is the valuation. And then you have your intangible assets, not really required, right? You can just skip it. Have some idea about NFRA. This is also an important body. So it is a body constituted under the Companies Act. Why this body has been constituted? So to set up a separate independent regulatory body to assist in the enforcement of legislations regarding accounting and auditing and improve the competency. There has been not previously there were certain scams in the auditing, right? Auditings were not being performed to the best, and that is why this particular body NFRA has been formulated. ठीक है, इसीलिए ये body formulate की गई थी. So this is the composition of the body. I don't think that this is important for you. What is important for you is the role of NFRA. Okay, the make recommendations on the accounting and auditing policies, monitor and enforce the compliance of accounting standards, whether accounting standards are being followed or not. Okay, then oversee the quality of service of the professionals, how CAs are performing auditing and accounting related services. So to be a force of what you can say monitoring over the such kind of professionals, perform such other functions as may be prescribed by the government. And prior to constitution of the authority, central government would prescribe the accounting standards on recommendation of ICAI. Now the ICAI would prescribe the same only after consulting the NFRA, the National Advisory Committee on Accounting Standards, who will provide their recommendations, right? The ICAI will now have to consult the NFRA and examine its recommendations in this regard. Okay, so now we have a new body called as NFRA, and the ICAI have to take the recommendations as well as the opinion of the NFRA as well. So you have to remember that why the NFRA has been constituted, what is the purpose of NFRA, because this is in a way related to the accounting. So that is why I have included this particular thing over here. Okay. Powers of NFRA, they can investigate the CA firms. They have the same powers as civil courts. They can summon the attendance. They can ask for discovery of the books of accounts, right? They can ask for it. They can inspect any books of accounts. They can issue the commissions for the examination of the witnesses, etc. So these are the things that I wanted to discuss in the accounting standards related point, although you do not need to go into details because there have not been any instance in which a direct question has been asked out of the accounting standards. So very basic understanding is needed for you guys. That is why I have discussed all of these. Thank you so much for joining in.